Right, so now that Black Clover's been out for a few days, I just want to run through some of the things that I noticed would help new players, especially if you're waiting for global, and just some things to be aware of that I think everyone should know. If you haven't started recently, I know they haven't released all the rules yet from pre-registration, so it's super important that you either start now or probably after maintenance, which I'll go into a bit later, but there are some huge changes, better like so much improvements they've made since the launch of the game, and it's really good to see that it's happening this early on. So either start ASAP or wait till probably June 1st. Uh, so I'm going to throw up quickly on the screen that all the remaining rewards that are yet to be distributed to all the KR and JP servers, and you could probably expect this the same or maybe even more for global when it comes out. So it's a good idea to see if you want to start on JP/Korea or wait for global. So when you first boot up the game, you've done the tutorial, you're on the reroll screen, you want to get an idea of who you want to roll for. So a good way to determine is, if we quickly check, because I've managed to get to PvP, is to look at the whales. Obviously the whales have been whaling, and usually they are on the right track of what is meta, who are the sort of standout units that you want to ideally pull for. So obviously content creators who will like Nag and CN will probably have curated their own tier list by now, but generally whatever the whales have been doing and who's number one, they sort of have a better understanding of why these units are meta when they've been max duped. Like this guy Madoka has sort of max dupe everyone, LR everyone's level 100, they're all cracked, and you can safely assume that all gear, all talents have been maxed out as well. So I got really lucky with my account. It was my first account. I don't know if you saw the other video, but my account is pretty cracked and I'm getting very lucky. Not only did I manage to pull Lotus and his artifact in my rerolls on him, but I also managed to pull Seasonal Yami. I have pulled a few times and did manage to get Asta's artifact as well, and I'm hoping to sort of go all the way to pity on his on the seasonal banner so I can get Asta as well. I only got like 70 pulls left. There's 8 days remaining. Hopefully I can do it by then or sooner. And then I'll probably get the healer, I forget her name, via the 3 missions. So once you really want to see what the units on what units you want. If you want to go for meta, here's I'll show it again for you now. It's sort of a what's currently meta right now. So I believe it's William, Lotus, Seasonal Yami, and this R character, I forget his name, but he's really strong at the moment. I know a lot of people are using him. Asta's really strong at the moment as well, and I believe that's it. I'm sort of grinding my way slowly. I'm trying to prioritize on sort of maxing my units first before I jump into PvP. We're going to touch back on PvP in a moment. So once you get the units that you want and you're happy with, the main thing to do is grind story as fast as you can. The sooner the better. The quicker you reach the chapter 3, which at the moment is the sort of gap, which is the max sort of progression that they have allowed for in the game, the better, because that means you would have unlocked more things to do, more things to grind forward, so you can progress your characters. As you can see, I need chapter 3 episode 5. I'm not there yet. I'm very close. I've been missing out a couple of days, but once you'll be able to do that, you'll be able to unlock all the things necessary for you to progress your characters. I know with the upcoming changes, I'll throw it up again on screen, and it just quickly, the way friendship has changed is better as well, so that way you're able to progress your characters quicker, as well as the distribution of story tickets after you complete certain chapters, so that way it wouldn't take as long without spending sort of stones or gems or however you want to call these on story tickets. So I wouldn't obviously highly advise against spending stones or gems for story tickets. They sort of they're really generous with giving them out, as well as obtaining them through in-game as well. For example, it won't show up for me now, but initially, if you pass like the first instance of this XP, the potion farms or the XP farms, it will give you a story ticket as an initial reward, like an initial completion reward. So I think it's really important that you sort of max everything you can in game before thinking if you want to spend this. Obviously, I advise against it. Another thing that would be ideal is that if you finish all the items in the game, you should focus on everything that you could do in each chapter or each world. So if we go to the bottom right here, obviously we got different worlds here, and you've got different sort of world progressions at the bottom, each given medals, and that has a shop and puzzles and so on and so forth. The reason why this is important is if we zoom out a bit here, you've got 2 areas with sort of stars and a fishing port here. So if we go back into it, these things actually give you materials and rewards. And where are you going? It gives you materials and rewards for 3-starring everything and sort of progression here. And if you max 27, complete all nightmare. I managed to get to, I've done normal, hard. I just need to do nightmare now, and I'll be able to get a temple and 300 gems and talents. So that way I'm able to summon more, I can progress my characters quicker, I can make them stronger, and that way I'll better prep them for PvP so I can get my weekly gems at the highest sort of possible grade I can. So it's really important that you try and maximize everything you can do in each world before sort of progressing on to the next thing. Only if you haven't got any stories and you've got an abundance of stamina, which you will get during early game. Another thing that I use my sort of story or stamina on is these sort of side quests here. I can't recall. I think I need to finish chapter 3 before I can unlock these ones. But these ones here give a lot of gems once completing them. They're a bit arduous, I'm not gonna lie, but it was something to do whilst I was waiting for story tickets, and each one gave like 100 gems. So it's like what, 600 gems, which is almost a multi. And it did help me along the way as well, because completing these like sort of beginner event missions, I completed the first one here. It gave me tickets, it gave me friendship, sort of gifts and shards and clover shards and so on. It gives you a lot of things, so it's arduous, but trust me, in the long run it's going to be better for you. And speaking of sort of the progression of units, as well as the clover shards that you get, it's really important to know how to utilize these properly. I made the mistake. I'm sure a lot of people made the mistake. I know other people have covered it, so I'm going to reiterate it because it's that important in case you don't know. These shards here, when you get friendships, they will give you enough to sort of max progress your units to LR naturally. So if we go here, all of these ones here up to friendship 10, they will give you enough gems and shards to sort of naturally progress them to LR. It's sort of the only problem is it takes a while to max the friendship level, which I believe they're changing as well during the next patch. So the best way to do this is, once you have your sort of unbranded clover shards, you want to use these first to sort of max rank your units. After that, you'll be able to get enough through friendship level of the branded one, which is his own gem, to sort of carry that over to make sure his rank is LR. That way, that's how you manage to max rank him, max dupe, max everything. Dupe is another sort of whaling system. So after LR, you'll see here, if we go back to the PvP section, you have these stars underneath the units. So once you hit LR and you have further gems or shards, I'm not sure if they're unbranded, if you can do unbranded, or they have to be branded ones, but you can sort of dupe them into themselves, and I'm assuming they will give them extra stats, maybe different multiplier or an extra passive or extra ability during their skills, not sure, but that's how it goes with whaling. If you plan to whale, that's how it's gonna be. But if you're whaling anyway, you know, you could just fill them with whoever extra dupes you have left over. I'm sure that's not gonna be a problem. But if you're free to play, this is really important to know how to utilize the unbranded clover shards and the branded ones wisely. Moving on to the next point is how to spend the 1 stamina wisely. So obviously I've covered the idea of sort of utilizing characters. You want to focus on your main team. So my main team is generally these 4 SSR units, and then I'll throw in a couple of these ones if needed. But this will probably be my main team for the moment, and I want to sort of hyper focus on their progression. And the best way to do that, not only for friendship, just level character growth as well as talent level farming, is you going into the XP farm, doing this and getting high as you can, even if you have to do some of them manually, which I do now for 91k. My one is 88, so I have to do this manually, otherwise I won't be able to pass it. But I want to get this to a point where I can sort of not worry about farming this, and then once they're high enough, I'm able to move over to the gear farming one, because you can see it's quite a different jump. Not only is it a different jump, it's each stage provides a different sort of gear set. This one provides, I believe, speed, and then it's defense, attack, speed, defense, speed, attack, and then defense, attack, and then so on and so forth. It just goes up and up and up till LR. These are the ones that you want to grind towards. And so this is ideal. So this is what it drops as well. So you may not even get that lucky to get LR ones. You may get URs and then SRs, and I'm sure there's a system to sort of like grind them or sort of salvage the lower tier ones to forge them into LR ones. We haven't gone that deep yet, but I can imagine there's a system in place for that. So this is sort of end game where you want to be, especially for PvP. And not only for PvP, it's going to help so much for for time limited events. So if we jump into here, another useful way to spend your stamina is primarily this one. I haven't even touched this one yet. I haven't even touched it yet because I don't want to just yet, because this one's 100k and it goes up into like almost 200k. And then we've got 30 days to sort of 29 days to sort of trial these out. My primary focus is this one here. It's sort of like a tower system where you go up different levels, and every 5 levels it gives you a reward. So I'm trying to grind this out as much as I can, because there's a lot of levels and it seems incremental increase in difficulty, and that way there's an abundant opportunity for you to get a lot of rewards. So if you go to level 30, for example, you get a lot of talent rewards as well to make your unit stronger. So there is definitely a lot of ways to sort of show you how to, not show you, there's a lot of ways for you to progress your units and your characters and to gain a lot of resources. It's just making sure you're aware of the best way to do so optimally. So I believe for now that's the way I've managed to find it. If there's anything that I missed out or anything that is better, I'm more than happy to sort of look out, provide an update, or if there's any comments that sort of highlight it and probably pin it. But yeah, that's it. That's all I found for now. And yeah, if you found this useful, let me know.